Evening all. Good evening. Hope you've had a brilliant day. Right, this is the kind of stuff that you should know, probably don't know, but absolutely will have an impact on your longer term health. The more you know, the better. And nobody's going to tell you this stuff, so it's important that we cover it and you get curious and you go away and you do your own research based on your own set of symptoms or where you're at in your life. Hugely important. Okay. Go and tag everyone, please. There's 43 on. Every single woman in the house needs to hear this tonight. So please tag them. Tag. So if you have a thyroid issue, this is going to be really important for you, but you might not have a thyroid issue at the moment, but who's to say you might not in the future? So we're going to cover thyroid, we're going to cover liver, a bit of estrogen, but all that's coming later on in the week. I'm going to show you a video on stress and cortisol for a really... I'm trying to find a better word than important. A really crucial reason. Keep saying it's important, but it is. Good. Every single woman has to hear this stuff, because I guarantee you your doctors will never sit you down and explain what's going on with your thyroid. And half the time they'll be prescribed medication for a thyroid issue when actually it's a secondary issue. The issue that's affecting your thyroid isn't your thyroid, it's something else, and you've been prescribed medication to fix the thyroid. So you'll get a synthetic thyroid medication, you'll take it, and nothing will really improve, or it'll improve slightly, but this underlying problem is still going on. So there are two conditions I want to talk to you about tonight, and one of them, not so much this one. This is an overactive thyroid, which is called Graves', and underactive thyroid, which so many people have, but 90% of that is caused by Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition where your body attacks itself. So we'll get into more of that just shortly. But I want to talk to you about the stress hormone cortisol. I'm going to show you a video first. And when you have glands in your body, and the glands produce hormones, and the hormones are the carriers of the signal or the stimulus for what has to happen in the body. So if a gland isn't working properly, and you have a hormone deficiency, or you've got too much of a hormone, then that's going to affect absolutely everything, because everything is on a feedback signal. Okay, so listen to this video. This is on cortisol. Now, Hashimoto's, probably close to 100% of the time, is caused by a stress situation. Stress is one of the biggest killers in the world. It kills people, and it has a huge effect on, obviously, your mental health, but also on inflammation in the body as well. So just watch this video, take it all in. Belly fat is just a superficial part of it. Inside is where the problems are happening. We see it as belly fat surfacing. Actually, what's going on inside is far greater than the superficial. So I'll share it, and please just watch. Here we go. Is it enlarged? Yeah, it's enlarged. Right, here we go. I look a wee bit scary, but that's okay, right? As long as you get the information. Stress can cause, no matter... Did you know that stress can cause, no matter how you train and how hard you train, can cause you to store belly fat? So if you can't get rid of your belly fat, no matter what you're doing and how good your diet is, it's probably an indication that you are too stressed. Your cortisol levels are too high. Cortisol is the hormone in your body which is produced in response to stress levels. Now, cortisol is produced by the adrenal gland, which is situated just above the kidney. So above each kidney, here's your adrenal gland, and it's like a triangular shaped gland. And the outside of it produces cortisol, and the inside produces adrenaline. Two fight or flight hormones in the body. And they're basically to forearm you or protect you against stress situations. The problem with the adrenal gland though is that it only has an on switch. It doesn't have an off switch. So you need to carefully manage your stress levels so that your cortisol levels are reduced and at a level that can allow you to maximise your training efforts and reduce body fat. Symptoms of high stress states are elevated heart rate, anxiety, irritability, if you just get annoyed really easily and you're a bit quick-tempered, lack of sleep. And this could be caused by a whole host of different things, from emotional and physical stress. Maybe you're under a lot of pressure at work or at home, or maybe you've suffered a breakup or a bereavement. All stress is accumulative, so you might still be stressed after maybe losing a loved one 5 years ago. Unless you've dealt with it and you've carefully managed your stress, it may still be in your system, which is causing you to restore and hold on to belly fat. So as part of evolution, as a caveman or a cavewoman, whenever we've seen a lion, our cortisol levels were heightened and belly fat was gathered here, obviously at your belly, to protect your vital organs. So reproduction slowed down and digestion slowed down, but everything else speeded up. For example, your heart rate, your breathing, your blood pressure, everything else went up, but reproduction and digestion went down because it wasn't necessary at that point in time to save you. And that's just who we are, that's how we work. So we have to carefully manage your stress levels. Now my concept is called Train, Eat, Sleep, Repeat. I have a facility in Dundee in Scotland called Train, Eat, Sleep, Repeat, and the sleep part is key and it's crucial to everything. Without appropriate rest and recovery, without appropriate sleep and stress management, you will not progress. You'll still hold your belly fat if you train 7 days a week. Now stress comes in many forms. It can be physical, psychological, it could be from a bereavement years ago, but unless you deal with it, it's never going to go away. So time out just for you is so important. I can't emphasise it enough. You have to take time out of your day, even if it's just half an hour. No phone, get your phone off, whether it's meditation, whether it's just lying in a darkened room and focusing your thoughts, letting your breathing come down and being mindful and practicing mindfulness on where you're at in your head, growth mindset, go through all the growth mindset educational stuff that I've put on here for you. It's important that you just check in with yourself, take time and you try and de-stress the best you can. One of the best de-stress tactics that you can use is to utilise your workouts as part of the Shelley Booth Fitness online programme. That will bring your stress levels right down. If you're working hard and you're sweating and you're spent at the end of it, I guarantee your stress levels will be lower. Not at that point in time, because when you train, your cortisol's heightened, but over time, it's going to bring your stress levels down. Sleep, you must sleep. If you're exercising hard and you're eating really well, sometimes you just need a power nap through the day, and if you can get that, great, you have to do that. Rest and relaxation, taking time out just for you, even a half hour a day, is crucial. Please do it. Read up on cortisol, adrenaline, and the association between both hormones and belly fat. Okay then. Okay, so that is, I think everybody in the world has some level of stress. But sometimes the scary part is when you don't realise you're stressed and you're still in a high functioning state. So you're still spinning all the plates, you're still working, looking after the kids, dealing with the partner, doing the shopping, doing the cooking, doing this and doing that and doing that. You're spinning everything, but you're in a stress state. And that's when cortisol is through the roof and there is absolutely no control. And you're going to run yourself into the ground. So here are some of the symptoms of elevated cortisol levels. So belly fat for one, allergies, diabetes, a racing mind, so you can't get your mind to slow down at all, overthinking, can't get your mind to slow down at all, elevated blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, low vitamin D, and we're coming on to vitamin D later on in the week. What's called a round face, like a moon face, rosacea, and low stress tolerance. So you're quick-tempered, you're fiery, you don't have much tolerance at all for much. So there's some of the symptoms of elevated cortisol levels. You know if you're too stressed. Even somebody to look at is really red in the face, look like they're going to have a heart attack type thing. You know instantly that their cortisol levels are too high. On the flip side, the low cortisol levels are poor immune system, so you're coming down with a lot of different viruses and things. A white pigment in your skin, salt cravings, and if it's not the white pigment, you know when you get that really, really tan skin, so it affects the pigmentation in your skin, and weight loss. So that's cortisol. Does that sound like anybody? And there's a lot of things can affect your stress levels. Your hormone level can affect your stress levels and your cortisol levels. Estrogen, and again we're coming on to estrogen later on in the week, it's a fine line. The symptoms of high estrogen and the symptoms of low estrogen are really similar, so it's a tricky one to get your head around. But if you have a family history of estrogen dominance, or you know your family has the opposite symptoms, then you've got a head start. You know your family history, so you should be more tuned in. Anyway, that's cortisol. I really just wanted to highlight that because stress is the precursor for Hashimoto's. Always when somebody has gone to the doctor and the doctor says you have an underactive thyroid, it's usually followed by, or it's that has followed a stress situation in life. So maybe you've lost somebody, maybe you've been through a divorce or something like that, and it brings on Hashimoto's or an autoimmune condition. So I've got tons of notes for you, so let me just work through them, okay? So what happens is, I did have a wee thing on this. No. The pituitary gland, which is in the base of your brain, now like a wee pea, produces what's called thyroid stimulating hormone. And that trickles down into your thyroid gland, which is here, and it's like the shape of a shield right here. And there's a few things that can happen. When that thyroid stimulating hormone comes into the thyroid, it needs the liver, and it needs the liver to convert T4 to T3. Now, 80% of that conversion happens in the liver. So to get the inactive form of the thyroid hormone to be active, it has to convert in the liver. Okay? But the most important factor in this is the fact that you must have a fully functioning liver. Now, if you look down and see a belly, and it's a big belly, then you have liver issues. You definitely will have fatty liver. And so, how can you get the conversion right if you have fatty liver. You can't. So therefore, it looks like you have a thyroid issue, when in fact it's your fatty liver. It's the big belly there. So listen, I've done some symptoms of fatty liver. Now, without seeing the belly, I mean, that's a great indication, but here are some more, okay? So here's what the liver does. It does hundreds of functions, but it breaks bile down. It produces bile, and it doesn't break bile down. It produces bile, and bile breaks fats down. So if you don't have the bile production through the liver because it's ineffective and it's fatty, you're not going to be able to break fats down properly. So the fat-soluble vitamins that you take in through good fats, you're not going to be able to absorb them. So there's going to be a problem there instantly. It makes proteins, and the lipoproteins, which actually carry cholesterol. Cholesterol isn't what you think it is. It's basically little transporters that are carried in a little case, and they're lipoproteins. But if your liver can't make that, how can it transport the cholesterol? Your body needs cholesterol, it can't. Every single cell in your body is encased in cholesterol as a defence, and it's supposed to be. But if you don't have that function, then how are you supposed to make it? You can't. Your liver also makes glucose through a process called, or a reaction called gluconeogenesis, which it basically turns fats and proteins into glucose. So that's why you don't need carbs and you don't need glucose, because your liver can convert fat and protein to glucose. You don't need, there is no essential carbohydrates. There is essential proteins and there's essential fats. There's no essential carbohydrates. It stores glucose as glycogen, so it's a storage factory. So for when you need the energy, so if you all of a sudden see a saber-toothed tiger and you need to run for it, then you're going to be okay because you have a wee storage, even if you've been fasting. You've been a hunter-gatherer, you can't get the food, you've been fasting for 3 days, but your liver's storing glucose as glycogen, so you've got an energy source. So that's why you're always okay, and that's why you're always okay when you're fasting. It converts ammonia to urea, which is less toxic in the body, and then you obviously pee that out. It detoxifies poisons, which is a huge plus for the body. Without the liver detoxifying against estrogen, environmental estrogens, estrogen that your body creates, glyphosate, Roundup, alcohol, all of the toxins that you take in through the body, wheat. Remember, wheat's been sprayed with glyphosate generally. Your body must detoxify that, because if it doesn't and it escapes, it's carcinogenic. It can cause cancer. So your liver is so important. And it's also a great buffer for excess cortisol. So if you've got high stress states, and excess estrogen as well. So it'll buffer both and reduce them in the body. However, that's what the liver does. But if your liver is fatty, it's not going to be able to do these functions properly. And that's the scary bit, because in fact, when do you hear people talking about fatty liver or fatty liver disease? You don't. You get non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is lifestyle related, and you get alcoholic fatty liver disease. Both can develop into cirrhosis, which is basically scarring of the liver, and to a point it becomes irreversible. Now, I'd always tell you this because it's really important. When people are heavy drinkers and they go to the doctor and they get their liver function test taken and it comes back fine. My dad was one of them. He would get his liver, and me and my mum would sit and think, thank God the doctor's going to have a word with him about his drinking. It's going to be okay, so he's going to come back and he's going to do something about it. He'd come back and go, liver's fine. Yep, knew it. And we'd be thinking, it can't be fine. Your liver has got to be really, really close to packing in, pretty much, before it shows up as a problem in a liver function test. So that's a really important thing to remember. Just because your tests are coming back fine things take a long time to show in a blood test. So please bear that in mind. Here's some signs that you have a liver problem. Heart pain. Now, purely because when your liver is fatty, it's inflamed and it grows because of the inflammation. Anything that's inflamed generally grows, doesn't it? It's sore, it's red, it's bloody, it's pussy, it's itchy, it's just irritated. So it expands and it puts pressure on the heart. And that's why some people go to the doctors and say, got heart pain. Their heart is completely fine, but it's the problems, it's secondary to that liver. So it's an enlarged liver. Gynecomastia, which is essentially man boobs. So if your partner has man boobs, then it's probably their diet, and it's coming in through the estrogenic foods. Now remember, estrogen feminizes the body, so if your partner is eating too much estrogen, then obviously their body shape's going to change because it's a hormone. And a lot of that's coming through dairy, non-organic dairy. So if they're going to eat dairy, it has to be organic. And also spider veins. So nobody wants man boobs. So sort your partner's diet out, please. Because of the bile problem, because your liver can't function properly and doesn't make the necessary bile, it can't break down the fats and therefore release the vitamin A required for really good vision or night vision. So sometimes when you have vision impairments and you struggle to see at night, it's a good indication that it's a vitamin A deficiency caused by that liver. Look down at your belly. You'll get a wee look that, things aren't right. And isn't it, I find it quite staggering that people just completely ignore a massive belly that is growing and growing and growing and growing. I can't get my head around it. Still to this day, 20 odd years on, I can't get my head around it. If you've got a belly, you know there's shit going on in there, literally. Why are you not doing something about it? I'm not talking about you, because you are doing something about it. I'm talking about other people that just are happy just to let that happen. I don't understand it. High cholesterol as well, because the liver can't act on the cholesterol, as I said to you before. It can't, the lipoprotein factories, if you like, can't happen. And obviously belly fat. And one thing that can show that up is a FibroScan. So you can actually see how damaged your liver is with a FibroScan, which your doctor could do for you. But you would need to request that. Diabetes, because of the blood sugar issues, and fatigue, which is a really common symptom of most things, and right shoulder pain, so it's referred pain. Now remember, if your liver gets inflamed, coming up the right side, there's a nerve, the hepatic nerve, that comes right up here and into your neck, and if it's inflamed, it impinges on that nerve, and that's when you'll get the referred pain. So that's the liver issues. Okay, so what I'm essentially telling you that for is because if your liver isn't functioning properly, your doctor might say to you, your thyroid has come back underactive without even discussing the liver, and it's referred from the liver. So this is the big problem. This is the massive problem. Because you're now on thyroid medication when it's not even your thyroid that's the problem. Okay. That's fine. So here are the three things I want you to factor into the equation. If your doctor tells you you have a thyroid issue, here are the three things that you would need to really look at and cover. I'm going to go through them with you. So if you've got an underactive thyroid, here are some of the symptoms. Hair loss, dry hair, brittle nails, because of the protein, because of the lipoprotein can't be produced, because of the liver problems, and because of the inability for T3 to be active. brittle nails, slow metabolism. Remember, your thyroid is responsible for so many things, and metabolism is one of them, which is why when your thyroid is underproductive, you get slow, you get sluggish, you get tired, you want to sleep. Eyebrows, thinning of the eyebrows here at the outside. Now, my mum's got all these symptoms, all of them. And a thyroid body shape, quite a lot of the time, is really skinny limbs, really skinny legs, and a belly. You'll see that. You see that a lot. Poppy eyes as well. That's not underactive, that's over, but it's a thyroid issue. Cold feet and hands, or itchy peripherals, or tingly. So that's some of the symptoms. Anyway, so the first thing you would look at is your liver. If you've got a belly and you've got the symptoms that I've just talked to you about, then there's probably a problem with a conversion coming through the liver. So T4 to the active form of T3. And the T3 are just what are they? Thiamine. They're just molecules. So when the T4 passes through the liver, it just drops one off to form T3, and that's the active form. If there's gallbladder issues, if you have a gallbladder issue, some people don't have a gallbladder, but if you have gallbladder issues, you'll have bloating, bleeding, wind. If you're blowing your house into the Tay or the Spey or the Thames, wherever you are in the world. Right shoulder pain, headaches. You might need some gallbladder support formula, which you can get, but you just need to clean up your liver. And a way to clean up the liver is to stop the toxins, to stop the glyphosate, to stop the non-organic foods, because remember, they've been treated with pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, that are all chemicals coming into your body and making your body toxic. So you have to clean up your liver. And you'll know that your liver's cleaning up when you're on this meal plan and your body fat is starting to come down. The second one is the adrenals, which we've just watched the video there on stress. The adrenals can stop the thyroid working and cause autoimmune disease, as we've just been through. And what they do is they cause the thyroid, or heightened cortisol causes the thyroid to attack itself. All triggered through stress, which is the scary part. There is a medication called tryptophan PMG, and what it does is, if you've got Hashimoto's, if you take a pill PMG at night, what it does is it acts as a decoy. So you take it at night, it goes to the stomach, and the antibodies that are attacking the thyroid detract from the thyroid and go straight to this decoy in the stomach, and the stomach deals with the antibodies easily, but the thyroid can't. So the thyroid can then recover. That's called PMG. So that's one thing to go and research and think about if you do have an underactive thyroid. Is that my dog? Hold on a second. Sorry, wasn't honey. Yeah. So that's the liver. Second one was the adrenals, and the third one is the ovaries. If you have overactive ovaries, they could be estrogen dominant. You could have estrogen dominance. Now, if you've got estrogen dominance, in fact, let's go through this here. So if you've got too much estrogen, your boobs are tender, you might have fibrocystic breasts or ovaries, so fibroids on your inside or on your ovaries. Cramping, weight gain generally in your lower body. You know when someone's got an estrogen dominance problem because they carry all their weight in their lower part of their body, so their hips, their thighs. PMS, probably a nightmare when you're due on and you're just, you're all over the place. Fluid retention, excessive bleeding leading to anemia. So that, if you're estrogen dominant, you'll have some of these symptoms, if not all of them. So estrogen dominance mimics the thyroid hormone, and estrogen can also block the thyroid function. So if you've got too much estrogen, you'll have low thyroid function. So that therefore makes a secondary problem. You think it's the thyroid, but actually it's the overproduction of estrogen in the ovaries. And one way to deal with that is to try and help your ovaries out and your liver. So you're detoxifying, you're eating green cruciferous vegetables, which breaks down the estrogen in the liver. Without green vegetables, this is why the supplement called DIM is really important if you're estrogen dominant as well. It will help detoxify the estrogen and keep it down. So there's good and bad estrogen, which we'll cover in a few days' time. And the whole idea is to try and keep the good and lower the bad. So the thyroid receptors get blocked up with this estrogen because there's too much of it, and estrogen thyroid function reduces. So the doctor would be likely to put you on thyroid medication. So you've got the liver, the adrenals, and the ovaries all having an impact on that thyroid gland. Does your doctor tell you any of that? Maybe, but in a lot of cases, no, they don't. They just stick you on thyroid medication. And what happens is your thyroid relies on that medication and basically just shrivels up. And you'll be on the medication forever instead of fixing the problem. So that's that. Some of the symptoms, go through these. Some of the symptoms of high thyroid or hyperthyroidism, is sweating, pulse, hyper, bulgy eyes, as I said to you before, insomnia, no cycle, and weight loss. But generally speaking, most people are hypo, which is the Hashimoto's, and not the other one, which is Graves. Fatigue, depression, loss of eyebrows, weight gain, dry skin, night sweats, constipation, brittle hair and nails, cold hands and feet. Does that sound like you? One thing I also want you to do for your liver is avoid soy. This is why when people contact me that are vegan or vegetarian, I say, well, can I have soy-based products? Can I have grains? And the lectins in the grains attack the gut, especially gluten. And what happens is you eventually get leaky gut, which leads to autoimmunity. And then the autoimmunity then has an impact on the adrenal glands and the thyroid gland, and everything just goes tits up. So it's really hard for me, as much as I absolutely love animals and I would love to be vegan, I wouldn't be able to get the food in without all the other complications that I know about. I know too much. So it's really hard. When people say to me, can I have that instead of the animal product? And I go, well, yeah, you can if you want. That's why I don't do meal plans. You'll ask me, do you do vegetarian or vegan meal plans? Vegetarian's easier. You just substitute for veg. But vegan is really difficult, because there's a lot of soy-based products and wheat and grains and pulses and legumes, everything that we're not supposed to have. Remember, wheat is a mineral blocker, and in particular iron and calcium. So a lot of vegetarians that eat these foods are very deficient in all the things that they think they're not deficient in. But try having that conversation with a vegetarian or a vegan. It's a really difficult conversation to have. So I've stopped having it. I just don't have it. I like my stress levels here. Some people It's like when we came into isolation, the world stopped. People went, they were functioning on this level all of the time that they thought it was a depression, when actually they were just slowing down. Instead of functioning at this rapid, caught in the rat race, all over the place, flying here, driving up motorways, getting to here, getting to there. Wow, that's pretty crazy. I've done that as well. I've lived like that for years. I think if your husband was to do what you were doing and minimise all of the toxins and the estrogenic foods, they're estrogen mimickers, remember, coming in through the food that he's eating, if he eats what you're eating, I think you'll notice a big difference. And then you'll go to the doctor, get retested, and doctors are specialists in medicine. I can't say, when you could and couldn't come off medicine. I never would, never suggest that, ever. But everything, I believe, is fixable through diet. Practically everything. This is why I say this a lot, girls, in my Facebook posts, but people don't get it. You're on the programme, you understand it, and you understand what I'm trying to say to you when I say the education that you're getting in this programme is second to none. You don't get this anywhere. You don't. What's a meal plan and a workout without this information? It's nothing. You can pick a meal plan up for free on the internet and you'll get workouts probably far better than mine on YouTube. That's not what you're paying for. The mindset, the education, the nutrition, the movement, it's all part of a bigger... it's part of a jigsaw. It's a holistic approach. So when people go, £145, that's really dear. Actually, I might save your life, darling. Because nobody else is telling you this. This is what I need you to get across to people, if you don't mind. Because it's really hard for me, and people think I'm bigging myself up. And, listen to her, who does she think she is? She's not a doctor. No, I'm not a doctor. But I've worked with doctors, and I've worked with good ones and bad ones, and I know what's what. I also have a GP referral qualification, so I've worked with people who have all of these problems and helped them and referred. So me and the doctor have liaised to get this person better, and it's really frustrating when you've got a doctor that just does not fucking get it. It's really hard. So endocrine disruptors, here's another thing. So we have a thingy on this. The endocrine system is your superior communication system, and endocrine disruptors are anything that is toxic, anything that will alter how your body works, really simply put. And all of the chemicals that everybody is eating, and everybody is eating like 6 times a day, and most of the time it's utter shite, and then they're drinking on top of that. Nobody really knows what they're doing inside. They're maybe doing all this calorie deficit stuff so that they're actually looking okay, but inside, wow. Endocrine disruptors, fatty liver, hardening the arteries, atherosclerosis, skinny fat, it's all happening in there just because you can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there. But we're coming on to that another night. Here, listen to this. I went and took the dog for a walk today, and I was obviously social distancing, and this woman stopped to let me pass, and she went, "Shelley Booth," and I went, She's been on our programme, it's LM Mick G or something. She says, "I'm Lynn," and I never had a clue who she was. She went, "I've just moved up from on your programme before, and I'm doing it again in June." I have no idea why I'm telling you that, but it was a nice feeling. Now, here's an interesting fact. It's mostly women who have given birth, and 5 out of 7 women, 5 out of 7 people. No, Sheila, how'd you put that? If there's 7 people and 5 of them are women. 5 out of 7. Christ knows. How do you put that across? Fuck knows. Anyway, it's mostly women who have underactive thyroid issues. Men do get it, but mostly women, and that tells you that it's an estrogen issue immediately. So please, if you have estrogen problems in your family, you have to get really close to this information, really, really close, and go away and do all your research and reading. See, there's a counter argument here, and a lot of people will say, oh, you can't take too much green cruciferous vegetables because it depletes iodine. Now, you get iodine from sea kelp, but you would have to be eating masses and masses and masses of green leafy veg, cruciferous veg, to then deplete iodine so it would have an impact on your thyroid to make it underactive. So when people say that, it's all the rest of the shit that's going on as far as I'm concerned. But that's trial and error, so see, take them. But what I would do is go to the doctor and get another test to see the difference. It's things like that. See, health things. I get too caught up in the abs. I talk about abs a lot, and I'm the world's worst for saying that because I'm buzzing when I see women that have had 2 and 3 kids because I've got abs. It's just amazing. But it's the health benefits that are huge that I want you to report on. I would love if you'd done that. This is what I try to get across to people. It's all fine running in for a class, and the classes are amazing, you know they are, but without this knowledge and without this support, you could get a class any place really. Okay, not the same. You start to understand all of these things and you start to get a real handle on why things are happening and what they're actually doing to you. You start buying into the meal plans much more because you know they're health promoting. You know you're working towards 1,000,000% being the best version of you from the inside out, not just to look at. Okay, right, I've noticed loads of you sharing your links and that is amazing. Girls, please look at me. This is important. You're going through this process anyway. People are going to start noticing the changes in you. You're going to be improving all the time. Your body shape's changing, your mindset's changing. Things in your life will start to get better. People are going to say to you, what is it you're doing? You have to get clever at sharing this link. And if you're absolutely minted and you don't need the money, give it to a charity or something. That's £50 per person that joins by using your link. Open up a charity. Give it to somebody. Give it to the animals or the orphans or something. Do something with it. I'm giving you a third as I keep getting reminded. So use it. You have to. I'm noticing loads of you sharing them and it's amazing to see. And do you know what, girls? It's not going to happen overnight and your link might not get spotted. But the more you keep engaging with your social media or your texts and the more you're sharing your story, the more people are going to get really, really curious as to what you're doing. That's why I asked you to invite everybody to like my Shelley Booth Fitness page on Facebook. Because when they like it, they'll see stuff and they'll associate that with you and they're much more likely to use your link because you're going to be on it. See, if somebody bought from me the first time, I would be living in Malibu by now. Years ago. Nobody buys from you the first time. You have to prove that it works, you have to demonstrate, they have to trust you, they have to feel safe. All of that stuff that I'm doing, you're doing, you would need to do exactly the same thing. But you have to show that you're proof of the pudding that it works. If you're jumping on there and you've gained £5 but you're trying to share a link, it's not really going to work. It's actually Monday and I've not covered any of the results yet. I just want to say how amazing you lot have done. Honestly, what a fantastic group, and this has been said to me many times. See this programme? I don't know why I do know why it's getting better, but you are completely bought in from the off because you trust me, you've maybe done a transformation with me before and you know that I know my stuff, so you come in and you're all for it already. The new people, they're like, wow, this does work. So they're on it already. It's been such an amazing, amazing group and you've kept each other going and I cannot love this group more. I just think you're absolutely fucking amazing. I really do. So well done everybody. I've not been through all your names and stuff. I'll maybe do that tomorrow because I've got quite a lot to get through this week because we're finishing up. We're starting a new one on Monday. So if you've not booked up yet, please do. It's June 99, capital letters, all one word, June 99 to get it for £99. So please do that to save me the admin job. What I did suggest earlier on is if you've got children that would like to hear from me, I'm not going to talk about food in a bad way. I'm just going to say, you're watching your sugar, what you eating, just getting a wee bit of banter with them. And I'll do a wee circuit with them on Thursday at 12 o'clock on Zoom. And I'll send you the link on Wednesday. So if you've got wee kids that hear about me, that would like me to speak to them, I'm sure they would like that, then I'm all for that. I'll just highlight fruit and vegetables and how important they are and all that sort of stuff. And how important it is to support your mum and to help your mum cook and all that type of thing. Just everything I say to Leo. Okay. So packed with the stuff. And because you're so good at training and you love it, obviously you love to know the benefits and the inside and outside of the science of stuff. So I'm all talked out, girls. I want to speak to you about this book, The 5 AM Club. Here is my plan. I've just finished it. I'm going to make notes on it. I've done some tonight. I'm going to make notes tomorrow and I'm going to put it into action on Wednesday. I'm starting to get up at 5 in the morning and there's a 20-20-20 rule that I'll take you through this week. And if you're up for it, you can do it with me. It's supposed to be for 66 days because it takes 66 days to change your habit. And yeah, I'm going to give it everything I've got. I'm going to give it my best shot. So more of that another night. I don't stop. You're right. And do you know why I don't stop? Because I want to bring you lot as much as possible. For years, I've taken knowledge from everywhere possible, all over the world, and packaged it up to this. And that's why I get a wee bit hurt when people go, £145, that's too dear. I'm like, you just don't get it, do you? Okay, I'm going to get going, you beautiful people. I got my fake grass done today, by the way, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to wait a roll on it and do handstands on it and everything. I'll speak to you later, okay? See you in the morning, 8 o'clock. Be great to get 100 people on there. Night, night, girls. See you soon.